Commander Vex 9 clicked his mandibles in what passed for amusement among the Korthani Empire. Standing before the massive holographic display showing the third planet from a yellow dwarf star, he couldn't help but let out a chittering laugh. "So, these are the famous humans?" he asked, his 6 eyes focusing on the swirling blue and green marble. "The species that supposedly conquered half their solar system in less than 2 centuries? His tactical officer, ZYX Prime, consulted the data pad with obvious disdain. "Correct, Commander. According to our intelligence reports, they have managed to establish colonies on 7 celestial bodies within their system. Quite impressive, for primitives." "Primitives indeed." Vex 9 slammed his clawed appendage against the command console. "Look at their technology level. They still use chemical propulsion for space travel." "Chemical? Can you believe it? We mastered quantum fold drives 3 millennia ago, and these apes are still burning fossil fuels to escape their gravity well." The bridge crew erupted in synchronized clicking, the Korthani equivalent of laughter. Even the usually stoic navigation officer, Core 7, allowed himself a brief chuckle. "Sir," ZYX Prime continued, "their largest military vessels barely measure 800 meters in length. Our smallest destroyer is twice that size. Their most advanced weapons appear to be kinetic projectiles and nuclear fusion bombs." Nuclear fusion. How delightfully archaic. Vex 9 studied the tactical readouts with growing confidence. The Korthani Empire had swept across 17 star systems in the past century, each conquest easier than the last. Advanced civilizations crumbled before their plasma batteries and void shields. Entire fleets vanished under the overwhelming firepower of their dreadnoughts. "What is their estimated population?" he inquired, already planning the victory celebration. "Approximately 8 billion on their homeworld, Commander. Another 2 million scattered across their colonies." "Negligible, really. We can process them for labor camps within a standard rotation." "Excellent. And their defensive capabilities?" ZYX Prime's mandibles twitched with what might have been suppressed laughter. "They have, get this, they have built primitive orbital platforms armed with chemical rockets." "Chemical rockets, Commander. Their planetary defense grid consists entirely of ground-based installations that cannot even penetrate our void shields." The bridge fell silent for a moment before exploding into another chorus of chittering amusement. "Commander," interrupted Communications Officer Nex Alpha, "we are receiving multiple transmissions from the human homeworld. They appear to be attempting to communicate." "Oh, how precious." Vex 9 clicked his mandibles rapidly. "The little primates want to talk." "What are they saying?" "Standard first contact protocols, sir. Offers of peaceful exchange, cultural sharing, scientific cooperation, the usual primitive nonsense." "Patch me through to their main frequency," Vex 9 commanded, straightening his ceremonial battle carapace. "Let me speak to whoever passes for leadership among these creatures." The main screen flickered, displaying a surprisingly diverse group of humans seated around what appeared to be a primitive conference table. Vex 9 noted their laughably fragile appearance: no natural armor, no claws, no obvious defensive adaptations. How had such weak beings survived their planet's evolutionary pressures? "Greetings," spoke one of the humans, a female with dark hair and intelligent eyes. "I am Director Elena Vasquez of the United Earth Defense Council. We welcome you to our solar system and hope we can establish peaceful relations between our peoples." Vex 9 allowed himself a moment of theatrical pause before responding. "Peaceful relations? How amusing. I am Commander Vex 9 of the Korthani Empire, and I bring you terms of surrender." The humans exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from curiosity to concern. Another human, an older male with graying hair, leaned forward. "I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding, Commander. We have no intention of surrendering to anyone." "No intention?" Vex 9 chittered loudly. You pathetic creatures have no choice in the matter. Your primitive technology cannot possibly stand against the might of the Korthani Empire. We have conquered 17 star systems. Your little chemical rockets and fusion bombs are toys compared to our arsenal. Director Vasquez maintained her composure, though Vex 9 noticed a subtle hardening around her eyes. Commander, perhaps you should reconsider. Humans have a long history of surprising their opponents. Surprising us? The entire bridge crew erupted in laughter. What could you possibly do to surprise us? Throw rocks at our ships? Well, another human interjected, this one a younger male with an oddly cheerful expression. Rocks can be surprisingly effective when thrown hard enough. Just ask the dinosaurs. Vex 9 found himself momentarily confused by the reference, but dismissed it as primitive humor. You have 72 standard hours to prepare your surrender documents. After that, we will begin orbital bombardment of your major population centers. Resistance is futile. Commander, Director Vasquez said quietly, you should know that humans don't typically respond well to ultimatums. And you should know that the Korthani Empire doesn't typically leave survivors when our ultimatums are ignored. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in triumphant silence. Prepare the fleet for invasion protocols, Vex 9 commanded. This will be over before the next cycle. Mark my words, by tomorrow, these humans will be begging for the privilege of serving the Empire. Sir, ZYX Prime reported, our scouts are detecting unusual activity throughout the human system. Multiple ships are moving from their colonies toward the homeworld. Reinforcements? Vex 9 laughed. Even better. Let them gather their pathetic fleet in one location. We can destroy them all at once. What the Korthani sensors couldn't detect, however, was the subtle network of quantum communicators hidden throughout the system, or the massive industrial complexes buried deep within asteroid belts. They couldn't see the weapons factories that had been running at full capacity for months, ever since humanity's first deep space probes had detected the approaching alien fleet, and they certainly couldn't comprehend the strategic brilliance of a species that had spent its entire evolutionary history fighting itself, learning from every defeat, adapting to every challenge, and turning every disadvantage into an opportunity. As the Korthani fleet moved into attack formation, confident in their technological superiority, they failed to notice the small, dark objects drifting silently through space. Objects that weren't asteroids, despite their appearance. Objects that had been waiting patiently for exactly this moment. All ships report ready for the final assault, ZYX Prime announced. Excellent, Vex 9 replied, settling into his command throne. Tomorrow, we add another conquered species to our collection. These humans will make interesting specimens for our research facilities, assuming any survive the bombardment. The bridge crew clicked their approval, already planning their shore leave celebrations. After all, what could possibly go wrong? The next morning arrived with what Commander Vex 9 expected to be the final chapter of human civilization. The massive Korthani battle fleet hung in space like predatory leviathans, their dark hulls bristling with plasma cannons and fusion torpedoes. Status report, Vex 9 commanded, stretching his 6 arms in what he believed would be his last pre-victory ritual. All ships in position, Commander, ZYX Prime announced. The humans have maintained radio silence for the past 18 hours. They appear to have accepted the inevitable. Of course they have. Vex 9 chittered smugly. What else could those primitive minds possibly comprehend when faced with superior firepower? Begin the assault. The Korthani dreadnought Eternal Dominion powered up its primary plasma battery, energy readings climbing to devastating levels. Across the fleet, dozens of warships followed suit, preparing to rain destruction upon the defenseless blue planet below. Firing solutions locked, reported Weapons Officer Kex Beta. Target, Primary Population Center designated New York. Ready to obliterate on your command, sir. Fire. The space around the Korthani fleet erupted in brilliant displays of destructive energy. Massive plasma bolts streaked toward Earth like falling stars of death. For a moment, Vex 9 allowed himself to savor the satisfaction of another easy conquest, then something impossible happened. The plasma bolt simply vanished. Not deflected. Not absorbed. Vanished. What the Vex 9 began, but his words were cut short by alarms blaring throughout the ship. Commander. ZWX Prime's voice cracked with panic. Massive energy signatures appearing throughout the system. Multiple contacts. Thousands of them. The holographic display erupted with red warning indicators as what had appeared to be empty space suddenly teemed with activity. Massive structures materialized from apparent nothingness, their surfaces gleaming with advanced technology that made Korthani equipment look primitive by comparison. Impossible. Vex 9 shrieked. Our sensors showed nothing. Nothing. Sir, Communications Officer Nex Alpha stammered, incoming transmission from the human fleet. Human fleet? What human fleet? The main screen activated, revealing Director Vasquez once again. This time, however, she wasn't sitting in a primitive conference room. She stood on what was clearly the bridge of an advanced starship, surrounded by holographic displays and technology that hurt Vex 9's compound eyes to look at directly. Good morning, Commander, Vasquez said with a smile that sent chills down Vex 9's carapace. I hope you slept well. Did you enjoy our little disappearing act? This is some kind of trick. Vex 9 sputtered. Humans don't possess cloaking technology. You're absolutely right, the cheerful young human from yesterday appeared beside Vasquez. We don't possess cloaking technology. We invented something much better. We call it hiding in plain sight. Amazing what you can accomplish when you disguise your ships as asteroids, space debris, and the occasional comet. Vex 9's tactical officer frantically worked his console. Commander, I'm reading energy signatures that shouldn't be possible. Some of these ships are registering power outputs that exceed our entire fleet combined. That's because, Vasquez continued pleasantly, while you've been busy conquering primitive civilizations for 3 millennia, we've been having what we call world wars. Turns out, nothing motivates technological advancement quite like trying to kill each other more efficiently. We've had over 50 major conflicts in the past century alone. 50 conflicts? Vex 9 couldn't hide the tremor in his voice. Oh, that's just the big ones, the young human laughed. We've had hundreds of smaller wars, thousands of battles, millions of tactical engagements. Every single one taught us something new about warfare, strategy, and survival. You could say we've been practicing. The Korthani fleet suddenly found itself surrounded. Ships that had seemed like harmless space rocks moments before now revealed themselves as sleek, deadly predators. Their weapon systems powered up with an ominous hum that somehow transmitted through the vacuum of space. Now, Vasquez said, her tone shifting to something considerably less friendly, about that surrender demand of yours. Wait. Vex 9 raised all 6 arms in what he hoped was a gesture of peace. Perhaps we can negotiate. The Korthani Empire is reasonable. We can discuss terms. Oh, we're way past negotiations, another human voice joined the conversation. This one belonged to an elderly female with steely gray eyes. I'm Admiral Sarah Kemp, and I've been waiting 70 years for aliens to show up. Imagine my disappointment when the first ones turned out to be genocidal conquerors. 70 years? ZWX Prime whispered. You see, Commander, Admiral Kemp explained, we've been watching you for quite some time. Your empire has a nasty habit of leaving behind radio signals when you obliterate civilizations. We've been tracking your movements across 17 star systems, studying your tactics, analyzing your technology. And preparing, Vasquez added with a grin that was all teeth. Preparing for what? Vex 9 asked, though he was beginning to suspect he really didn't want to know the answer. For you. Suddenly, the space around the Korthani fleet erupted in coordinated chaos. Human ships moved with impossible precision, their weapon systems firing in perfectly synchronized patterns. But these weren't the chemical rockets and fusion bombs the Korthani had expected. Beams of coherent energy sliced through Korthani void shields like paper. Kinetic projectiles accelerated to significant fractions of light speed, punched through armor plating that had withstood plasma bombardments from a dozen different species. Most terrifying of all, some kind of exotic matter weaponry began converting Korthani ship hulls into something else entirely. "Our shields are down!" Weapons Officer Kex Beta screamed. "Hull breach on Deck 7 through 15. Structural integrity failing. This is impossible." Vex 9 clutched his command throne as the ship shuddered under repeated impacts. "Your technology level readings. Your primitive chemical rockets." "Oh, those?" Vasquez appeared on screen again, somehow managing to look perfectly calm while coordinating a massive space battle. "Those were decoys. We've been using fusion drives for interplanetary travel for decades. The chemical rockets were just for show. We wanted you to underestimate us." "But why?" "Because," Admiral Kemp's voice cut through the chaos, "predators always reveal their true tactics when they think they're hunting helpless prey. We needed to see everything you had before we showed you what we were capable of." The Eternal Dominion lurched violently as another human weapon found its mark. Through the bridge windows, Vex 9 could see his mighty fleet being systematically dismantled by an enemy they had dismissed as primitive. "Commander," ZYX Prime reported with growing hysteria, "the humans are demanding our surrender." "Our surrender?" "Sir," Communications Officer Nex Alpha added, they're also broadcasting our tactical frequencies to the entire galaxy. Every species you've ever conquered is watching this." Vex 9 felt his carapace go cold. The political implications were staggering. The Korthani Empire's reputation for invincibility was being shattered in real time, broadcast across known space for everyone to see. "And Commander," Vasquez said, her image flickering as the ship's power systems failed, "just so we're clear, this isn't even our military. This is our planetary defense force. Our actual military is currently spread across 12 star systems, and they're all much better equipped than we are." The bridge lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in an eerie red glow. In the distance, Vex 9 could see human ships moving through the wreckage of his once mighty fleet like wolves among sheep. "The humans are requesting communication," Nex Alpha reported weakly. "Put them through." Vasquez appeared one final time, though now her image was distorted by failing holographic projectors. "Commander Vex 9 of the former Korthani Empire, you have 72 hours to withdraw from human space and transmit the complete list of worlds you've conquered to our diplomatic corps. After that, we'll be paying visits to each of those systems." To do what?" "To liberate them, of course." Her smile was radiant. "Turns out, humans don't just fight well. We're also really, really good at making friends. Especially with people who've been oppressed by bullies." As the transmission ended and the Eternal Dominion drifted powerless through space, Commander Vex 9 had one final, terrible realization: they weren't just being defeated by humans, they were being defeated by humans who had been holding back. In the days that followed, as news of the Korthani defeat spread across the galaxy, a new phrase entered common usage among spacefaring civilizations: "They're just humans," they said, right before everything changed.